name's Joe. I go by Hot Cup of Joe on Instagram. I'm 21 years old. I go to the University of Minnesota, and I'm majoring in Sustainable Systems Management. So definitely my first introduction to art kind of has nothing to do, I guess, with photography that I'm doing now. My first passion was actually pottery. So when I started high school, it was actually interesting. When I was in middle school, I had this art teacher that I kind of knew I was interested in art, but she was like really just a terrible teacher, and she really like suffocated a lot of kids' like creative potential, and I like kind of witnessed that. And when I got into high school, I was like, oh, like I can, you know, escape that, and I can go into these art classes. And it was kind of like immediately that I was like, oh, this is something that I really like. I really like to create things. I like to have an idea in my head and make it come to fruition. So then I started doing pottery, and that was just kind of one of those things where it was like an instant, you know, seeing the pottery teacher like use his body weight and form the clay and like be centered and like be at peace with yourself and be able to make the clay just go in a perfect circle. It's like just immediately like I was really drawn to it, and I like picked up on it really fast. Then kind of as high school went on, like I think the biggest like breaking point for me going from this like 3D art to photography was I was 17 years old. My family took a trip to visit my uncle in Brooklyn, and I'd already been to New York City a couple times, and I like knew it was a really cool place, and I was fascinated by the architecture, and I was fascinated by the people that lived there, and it was just so different than the setting I had grown up in that it really just like intrigued me. So it was like we were, you know, planning this trip, and I just started following these street photographers from Brooklyn on Instagram, and I was like, not only are these pictures amazing, the lifestyle that's behind these pictures is incredible, and the experiences these people are having is incredible, and like I could only imagine to see these things in person and put myself in these moments. Like it would just be unbelievable, you know, and that really inspired me. Like, how do you do this? How are they getting on these rooftops? How are they going in these subway tunnels? Like, it was just so fascinating. It was like such an unfamiliar world, you know? I don't know if I can do that, but I can start taking pictures, because that's what they're doing, you know? They're doing this and they're taking pictures. So then it was like going out and riding around on my bike and just like taking pictures with my phone, and just like, oh yeah, you know, like that's just kind of like, you know, how you start seeing compositions, you know, and then you're like, I don't know, it's just everything kind of builds from that, I guess, that like initial spark. Honestly, the most important thing for me is I can watch YouTube videos, and I can read blogs, and I can, you know, find out about all this stuff, and that does help with like your technical, you know, knowledge. But for me, it's shooting with other people, and it's direct learning. It's direct, hey bro, why don't you change your setting to this, because like I don't know if you know that, but like that's gonna help you out. And that is what I respond to, and that's when I go, oh okay, and then I go home and I look up everything about it, and I find out everything about it. And that's what I think is really important, and that's why I think people kind of underestimate why Instagram is so good, is because it's just allowed that kind of connectivity to flourish. So I think the number one goal I always have when I'm taking a picture, or when I'm editing the image or posting it or whatever, is that I want people to look at it, and I want people to be inspired, not necessarily to take a picture, not necessarily to, you know, quit your day job, but to stop and to look around outside and say, wow, this is beautiful. You know, this sunset happening right now is beautiful, and this wind right now on my face is beautiful, and it's just another moment, and it's a part of something bigger that's happening all around. I think as a photographer, we often take it for granted that we get the opportunity to step back from everything else and to look at it and to just observe it and not be tangled up in it, not be, oh well, I'm just walking here because I have to go to work, and I'm walking here because I have to go to this place to get food, and then I'm going home. No, we're just walking around downtown, and seeing what's going on and witnessing the people, you know, using this space. And I think we definitely take that for granted, but I think other people, when they see that perspective, it changed my life, you know. Like, I think it really can affect people. So that's what I want to portray. I want to portray that there are beautiful moments that are happening all around the world all the time, and all you have to do is step back and take the moment to witness them, and it's incredible. It really is. There's definitely a couple parts of that. The one would definitely be just an enthusiasm for life. As I was saying before, just appreciating what's going on, like appreciating your surroundings and just being like aware of that. And like when you're aware of it, you can be happy about it, you know, and it's just a good thing. Another inspiration I think definitely is just like, there's a couple things tied in, but one is really I want to prove that I can do something that I'm this passionate about, and that's going to result in it becoming something greater than just having to do with me. I want to impact other people. I want to, you know, have it. I don't know, now I'm stumbling. I was gonna say my mom.
Okay.
And that probably something that I don't necessarily bring up a lot, but definitely do it for her and everything she's given me that she didn't necessarily have. So.
Bro. That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. That's super what's up. Thank you.
So it's definitely, I think, something that I think has been really important for me is obviously right now I'm not generating enough income from photography to call it full-time by any means, but the money that I do make from photography, I make sure to put that away almost separate from the money I make from like working different jobs. And that's kind of my like, all right, I made this from photography, so I almost kind of think of it as an investment back in photography, where I think some people, they do the same kind of thing where they invest it back into gear and other things, where I'm a lot more interested in investing it back into experiences and investing it back into travel. And I really think it pays off like 10 times, you know, as you could putting that same money into buying a new camera body or whatever else you're gonna buy, a new set of lenses. But yeah, that's kind of how I've afforded to travel. Just kind of, I don't know, I think people spend money on like a lot of things. Like, people love music festivals. I like music, whatever, music festivals are cool. A cheap weekend at Lollapalooza is $600. Like, that's be inexpensive. Last year we drove starting in Wisconsin to Yellowstone National Park, did 3 nights in Yellowstone, went up into Glacier, crossed the border, explored Banff and Jasper for a week. Incredible experience. Saw bears a couple feet away from us, saw beautiful sunsets over the mountains, some of the most beautiful mountains on our entire continent, you know, that we had just driven out to go see. That was 2 weeks of my summer. I paid $600 to go do that.
Hell yeah.
If you make the time and you set aside the money to do it, you can do it as easily as, you know, whatever else you're spending your time and effort on, you know. So it really just takes that, you know, initiative. Like, I'm gonna plan this trip, I'm gonna save up money for it, and I'm gonna go do it because that's what I want to do. So I think that's kind of the most important thing there. Yeah, definitely. I guess now it's kind of been a theme of what I'm saying, but I would kind of say the same thing. Just like, do it. Just start doing it. Don't think, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. That might be the case. Start shooting with what you have. We all have a cell phone in our pocket.
Yeah.
That's how most photographers of our generation started shooting. Yeah. You know, that's really the basics. You learn lighting, you learn composition. You know, then you still don't need to go out and spend a bunch of money on a camera. Find someone that you know that has a camera sitting. There's so many people that wanted to do this and they have a camera sitting in their closet.
Yeah.
And if you just say, hey, can I use that? You know, can I shoot that for a couple days? Yeah. So start doing that, and just, you know, there's no real limit. If you want it, you can go get it. I think it's the most important thing. It just takes that action and initiative.
Oh, yeah.